Hi folks, Nella here, and this is Hunter. Well, that's not his actual name, but it's one of the names I have for him. This is Hunter. You're showing your butt to YouTube. Not a good thingy to do. Anyway, I apologize if the camera tilts occasionally. That's because of this guy walking by the laptop and brushing up against it and other such things. You know, cat things. Anyway, so this video is kind of a continuation of my previous video, talking about the developments, with, the, well, the two new characters I came up with, as well as how my fragile flower Lillian doll is sort of connected to the wonderful Aunt Caro's Miss Emily's School for Excellence. And actually, I do have Lily here with me, and she's holding one of her many dolls. Oops, this way. She has Sailor Mercury there, and yes, that is a Bandai figure arts of Sailor Mercury that was released, yes, for the 20th anniversary over the summer. Yes, anyway, so that's, well, not over the summer, but you know, earlier in the year. And I don't think you can see, but I'm actually wearing Lily's necklace. It's a little acorn, and for some reason both flowers, caged birds, and this tiny itty bitty acorn have become motifs for Lily in her story. I really don't know how that happened, but it did. And holy crap, I didn't fully realize this, but Lily and I are actually kind of look very similar right now. I know. Like, people told me before that Lily looks the most like me, and I can kind of see the resemblance right now. This is actually something that she would probably wear as well, this cardigan. She, unlike me, she would not be wearing jeans though. Anyway, sorry, this video probably seems really pointless. But I did figure out something. So I mentioned in the video talking about the characters I came up with for Miss Emily's School for Excellence, Jazz and Bebop. And I mentioned that Lily's mom, Mrs Dahl, who I guess you could sort of term the villain in Lily's story, that she also went to Miss Emily's School for Excellence, and I think she went at the same time as Bebop, but very much unlike Bebop, who, well, was constantly trying to run away, and was constantly being a troublemaker and tried to do everything she could possibly do to get out of there. I don't know what power Lily's mom had when she was younger, but for some reason, and I don't particularly know why, but I think it's might be a bit kind of like how Ampico's character Graham actually like chooses to be at Miss Emily's, except for, unlike Graham, I don't think that it's because anything necessarily bad happened. I think it's more just that Lily's mom, even at that young age, didn't want to be different, and I know for some reason she didn't like her power. I think that's more to the point. I don't think it was that she was upset that she had a power. I think she was upset with what her power was. like I said, I have absolutely no clue what it was. Because obviously she hasn't told Lily that. Lily just knows that her mom went off to this prep school in the States when she was younger, and then she met Lily's dad, and they got married, and they had Lily. And then they fought like mad, and Lily's dad left one night and got into a car accident, and Lily's still pretty convinced that it's her fault. Yeah. Lily has actually a really sad story now that I think about it. Her story's pretty messed up. No, Hunter, stop putting your butt in the face. No, stop that. Anyway, so, yeah, I think that Mrs. Dahl, well, I think her first name is Betsy, or Betty. One or the other, I don't know why. I think it might be Betsy, just because that makes me think of Betsy McCall and the Betsy McCall dolls, so, you know, puns. Betsy Doll, I mean, come on. But anyway, I think that Betsy, the future Mrs. Dahl, while she was at Miss Emily's, even though I don't think like she was precisely the same age as Bebop, I think she was a little bit older, and I think part of the reason why Bebop failed so much was that she kind of got reported, which is, you know, like, Bebop is not the sneakiest person around. Like, I mean, she tries to be, but she isn't. And Bebop very much had this approach of she wanted to run away, and she wanted to help as many other students as she could run away. Unfortunately, when she kind of opened up her, hey, I'm going to try and run away on this night, and this is the plan, are you in? Unfortunately, not everyone that she approached necessarily took her up on it, and some of them may have reported what she was trying to do, and one of those girls was Betsy. And I should mention that Betsy didn't like Bebop. Betsy very much thought that there was something wrong with Bebop other than the fact that she had magic, and that she... It's a bit hard to describe. I think it's more... Betsy envied Bebop. In Betsy's mind, Bebop had the perfect life, and she didn't get why Bebop was trying to change things. Because in that situation, she wouldn't. So, when Betsy... I'm just going to keep calling her Betsy right now. So when Betsy ended up meeting Mr. Dahl, and they became Mr. and Mrs. Dahl, and they had Lily. Betsy kind of saw it as she was finally getting on the right path. That, you know, that stuff happened in her childhood, and she had, you know, and that she went astray, and then she went to Miss Emily, and she was put back on the right path, and she continued along that path until she started fighting with her husband almost every night. But of course neither of them wanted to go and see help because that... I think maybe her husband did a little bit, but it was kind of like they were staying together for Lily, and then they didn't want to admit that they were having trouble because Mrs. Dahl is very much all about appearances. Anyway, I mentioned in the video that there's the possibility that maybe Lily does have a bit of magic. Lily here is a selective mute, and I did talk about this in the previous video, but the way back about Lily here and about her story. But the reason why Lily is a selective mute is because, remember how I said that her dad, left the house one day after a big fight with Mrs. Dahl, and then was in a car accident? Well, he was in a car accident and died. And right before he left the house, Lily, who, Lily finds it very easy to empathize with people. So when her parents were always arguing, she would get really angry. It was kind of like she was absorbing their anger, and before her dad left after this big fight, little Lily said, "I hate you. I hope you die." Actually, no, she didn't say, "I hope you die." She said, "I hate you. You die now." And then he went to his car, and he was in a car accident. There was a drunk driver that hit him, and he died. And Lily found out about that, and she didn't speak after that, because clearly it was because she told her dad to die that he did. So words have power, and she was just not going to talk anymore. And because Mrs. Dahl is so much about appearances, as you can imagine, when Lily stopped talking, she went to therapist after therapist after therapist, but because Lily still refused to communicate, and frankly because of Mrs. Dahl as well, she just completely stopped talking. It wasn't so dramatic as that. She did speak to her mom for a little bit, and then she just kind of stopped, and she stopped responding to questions, stopped talking to authority figures, which is actually really big with Lily. The first people she stopped talking to were actually people her own age, and then it was people in authority, and then it was her mom. And now Lily doesn't talk to anyone. The only time she actually uses her voice is if she's absolutely all alone and there's an animal there. Kind of like, okay, well, I think a lot of us on YouTube land are cat lovers, and kind of like you pass a friendly cat, especially if it's like a neighbor's cat, like the cat of someone you know, and you go, "Hey kitty, how you doing, kitty?" Like, it doesn't matter if you're necessarily a shy person or if you would actually say hi to their owner, like it's a cat or it's a dog or a rabbit or whatever. Lily is like that, but she only does it when there's absolutely no one around that could hear her. So even with animals, she doesn't say much. So anyway, I think there's the possibility, slight possibility, remote possibility, that Lily is right, and that if she says something with enough feeling, that maybe it comes true. And I have to answer myself. So bye everyone.